I was wondering today if I am the only FPL manager who has ever been sacked by his girlfriend by November. Seriously, it happened, and she took over my team, and that was the season that I ultimately achieved my highest ever rank. Traditionally, I have always done well in the second half of the season and been absolutely diabolical in the first half. But look at what's happened this season. Green arrow after green arrow. But show my team to an expert in the game and they will have some serious questions to ask. Where's Trent? Where's Sarr? Where's Ronaldo? There's no attacking threat in defence. You have Aubameyang? And yet it is what it is, and I am where I am. And that's because this season I've been doing things differently. So if you want to find out how you can turn your red arrows into green, stick around, because I'm going to show you 6 things that will help you to make that happen. Hello and welcome back to FPL Score Predictor. I'm Phil and it's nice to know you all. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and give the bell a little nudge so you'll be updated when future videos are uploaded. Also, show some love and click the like button as this all helps with the YouTube algorithm. In this video, I'm going to be looking at why things are so different for me this season and suggest 6 ways that you can turn your red arrows into nice green arrows. Well, the answer to that question is a big no. It's not too late. There are 32 game weeks left. But before starting to achieve these green arrows and turn your season around, there are 2 things that you may need to have to change yourself and 2 things that you need to have. And yes, you're going to need a long-term strategy for up to Christmas. And by that, I mean that from game week 10 to 20, you should have a team in place that you need to alter very little. After Christmas, things are a little bit more complicated and you need shorter long-term strategies, if there is such a thing as that. And secondly, you need belief. The team that you set up at game week 10 for the next 10 games is the team that you think will return the most points for you. At this point now, you need the courage of your convictions to stick with them. It's my team, I'm the boss. This is the number 1 reason why traditionally I always do so badly. Everyone, your girlfriend, your friends, people in the pub, your dad, your workmates, social media, Uncle Fred and even his dog are all telling you you've got to have him in your team. You can't be playing 4-3-3. You have to go 3-5-2. You need this player. You need that player. After Christmas, they have all lost interest and you get on with your own thing and you start to improve. You don't need to act on what people tell you, no matter who they are. You're the boss. Constantly chopping and changing your strategy, your formation, or your individual team players because somebody told you to do it is the worst thing that you can get into. Even if someone gets a hat trick, you don't need to have him in your team next week. It isn't going to work for you. Which brings me very nicely onto point number 2. Tip number 2, you need a strategy. The only way I can think of to demonstrate this though is to use my team. But it is not in any way me suggesting that my strategy is better than anybody else's. In fact, it might be worse at the end of the season. Or I'm not going to suggest that you pick my players. Because this might not be the right way to go. It's just the belief I have and the way I want to play it. So likewise, it should be what you want, the players you want, and the formation and strategy that you want to do. I've decided, having played the game for the last 6 weeks, that it's probably better to go to a 4-3-3 formation, because midfield is a little bit of a minefield at the moment, and just up until Christmas I've decided that might be the best way to go. But if you now look at my current team, then you can see there are major deficiencies. And in fact, I need a much more attacking threat at the back than there is. And then there are 1 or 2 other little tweaks that I need in order to be ready by game week 10. I also have to prepare myself for a couple of red arrows around game weeks 7 and 8, which of course will happen because the top players will be playing their wildcard, and of course their teams will improve over the next couple of game weeks. So I know in advance that my rank's going to fall, hopefully not too much though, and by game week 10 we're all going to be on a level playing field. I'm not going to get depressed if I get a little bit of a fall, and I'm not going to suddenly start thinking about changing my team altogether and my team's worse than theirs and all that rubbish. I'm going to stick with the philosophy that I already have decided upon. So this is how I want the team to look at game week 10, the team that will carry me through to game week 20. It has a much better attacking feel to it at the back, and I will have some heavy hitters up front. I still have Benrahma on probation, and I will need to decide by game week 11 or 12 if he is staying or not, because he needs to produce a few more returns than he's doing at the moment. So this is how I plan to get there by game week 10. For game week 7, I have already transferred in Lukaku for Ronaldo, as I believe his fixtures up to Christmas are the better of the two. I did it early because I was able to save 0.1 mil as his price went up on Sunday. It might be 0.1 mil that I need later. And I'm going to take a 4-point hit this week and bring in Trent Alexander-Arnold to bolster the defence. Yes, he is playing Manchester City, but it's a game that could go 4 ways. It could end 0-0, in which case he gets the clean sheet. Liverpool could win 1-0 and he gets an assist and Salah scores, and suddenly I'll get 22 points out of nowhere. It could be a high-scoring game in which he has chances of attacking returns. Of course, City could win 1 or 2-0 in which he and Salah will blank. That's a 1 in 4 chance that I'm willing to take. In game week 8, I will switch White to Tierney, also to bolster attacking threat at the back because he has more chance of attacking returns than White. And in game week 9, I will switch Gray to Smith Rowe. He will sit on the bench and provide good midfield cover when it's needed. And then finally in game week 10, the plan is to switch Aubameyang to Vardy. In game week 11, I will assess Benrahma and decide whether or not to keep him or to bring in Saka instead. Now, if your team is in a real mess, you may need to take a few hits to get your team up to the point where you like it at game week 10, the team that you're going to trust at that stage. It's not going to make any difference to you taking a few hits now at this stage in the season if you're lounging around rank 3 million or 4 million. Just get your team, whatever it takes, get your team to that point where you're going to be playing the game happy and in control by game week 10. So having set up your team for game week 10, that doesn't mean to say you can log out and go on holiday and come back in game week 20 and everything's hunky-dory. Not a bit of it. What you need to do is closely keep monitoring players on the fringes on your watch list, and also you need to make sure that you've got enough cover for areas of weakness, and you need to identify where those areas of weakness are right now. So already if I bring up Cody's fixtures, you can see that from game week 15, I don't want him anywhere near my team. So I need to have an alternative plan for around about that time. And if I bring up Livramento's fixtures, and you can see the big difference with him from that point to after Christmas, and so that's a very easy switch and I'm pretty sure that he will get me some returns during that period given his particular fixtures. That weakness is covered. I also have to look at Ben Rama if he stays, and if you look at his fixtures for game week 11, 13 and 15, they're probably games I don't want him in the side. But looking at, if you bring up Smith Rowe's fixtures for that corresponding time, then you can see that he actually can do his job covering on the bench during that time. So we have cover for both areas of weakness that I've identified during that 10 game week stretch. One of the most important elements of the game is selecting the right captain. That's why I'm not a great big fan of having 4 or 5 premium players in your team, because that will give you all sorts of headaches in terms of selecting your captain. Personally, but you may not agree with this, I think that there should be one captain. I have one captain, and that is Salah. But that doesn't mean that I don't have options. For example, if I look at game week 18 for Salah, he is away at Tottenham. But when I bring up Antonio's fixture, he is at home at Norwich. Therefore, during that game week 18, Antonio may be a better option for this particular game week. But I don't intend to change the captain all that much unless there's a good, valid reason for it. Your chips are very valuable to you. You will get another wild card for January, but if you have set up your team efficiently now, you probably won't have to use it in January. This wildcard will be usable right up to the end of the season. Save it for a very rainy day. Remember also, there will be an FA Cup quarter-final day, when there will be a game week where you realise that you don't have any players playing. Think about your free hit for this particular game week. Your bench boost could be used when you have a lot of players in a double game week. Triple captain is a complete gamble. Pick a good fixture and use it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. Remember most of all about these chips, don't waste them. Don't randomly use them. Have a good reason for using them, and keep them until you actually need to use them. And finally, you will have noticed my watch list. In my watch list, there are 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 3 forwards. I can update this watch list all the time, but I always move someone out if I move someone in. There has to be a reason for moving someone out of my entire squad. And then I will pick a reserve team from the players who are on my watch list, and I will play against them. And this week, I'll put the scores up on the screen. This week, the score was 56 to my reserve team, and we just about edged it, getting 57. Now this also, if I'm getting beaten by my wish list team every week, then it's a sign that something isn't right. But although it's fun, it does help me to identify who is in good form and whose fixtures are good enough to be able to move them up to the full squad. This is why Vardy and Smith Rowe and possibly Saka will be making an entrance very soon. It's because of this watch list. So there you have it, 6 little tips that will help you, hopefully, to turn your season around by taking control of what's actually going on and not allowing everybody around you to dictate what you should or shouldn't be doing. If you like this video, give us a big thumbs up. It does encourage me when I see that. And also hit that subscribe button and click the bell to stay updated when we upload future videos. And all that remains to be said now is See you in the next video.